Hello, my beautiful African people. Welcome back to Hail and Ride African Facebook page and YouTube channel. Today we are talking about racism. How the Africans in diaspora react to racism. But before we go ahead to talk about that, let's do a little background on racism. Let's get definition of racism so that people understand what we're talking about. Before, when I was researching about this topic and this video, I searched a long time to find a definition of racism that is close, at least 80 to 90% close to what racism really means, because I saw different definitions of racism. Most of the time, the African history, those that write our history are not even from Africa, some. And even when they write the African history or histories, they start at the point when the white people or when the foreigners visited Africa or invaded Africa. You might use that term, invasion. That's when the history of Africa starts, But, Africa have been there before the colonial master came. So that's why I searched to find a good definition, at least the one I agreed with 80 to 90% about racism. Let me read it for you. One second. This definition came from a Cambridge dictionary. They define racism as policies, behaviors, rules, etc. that result in a continued unfair advantage to some people and unfair or harmful treatment of others based on race. This is at least a fair definition of racism, because they mention behaviors, policies, and they mention continued, because racism continues. But the one important thing I want to mention about racism is that when we talk about racism against black people, it's not only one group that unleashes racism against us. The Arabs, not all of them, but some of them, who have racism among the Arabs. The Chinese, not all the Chinese, of course, but we have racists among them. We have Indians. Not all the Indians are racist, but still have racism against. They still unleash racism against black people. The dominant society, the Caucasians, we have racism among them. But most of the time, when we talk about racism, we thought we just limited it to the white people. But it's not so. For the Africans or black people, their racism they face is very broad. We are the only group that faces racism from all this group I mentioned. If you're an African or black people, you have had people that, they have experienced racism in China or in Arab countries or in India. That's how bad it is for the black people about racism. And racism is getting more complicated now, because most of the racists doesn't say they are racist. If you ask a racist, "Are you a racist?" He will say, "Oh no, I'm not a racist." I was watching a video on Facebook, and this guy, I will not disclose the country, where this black guy was interviewing a guy from other groups. He asked him, what is good about this city? I don't want to mention the city where the guy was interviewing the young man. He said, what is good about this city? Tell me some of the good stuff that comes from this city. He said that the stuff we love about the city is the diversity. Diversity, it means that, we have different groups, different type of people. We have the black people, the Chinese, the Indians, the Arabs, and their natives there in that place. He said that's one of the good stuff. But let's assume that the man was being sincere. Yeah, you love diversity when your people are at the head. But if you switch it and the people are not head of most of the stuff in that city, I don't think he will say he loves diversity. He will say that he doesn't like the foreigners have invaded their city. I think that's what might come out from his mouth. Anyway, let's keep it moving. We know that racism can never stop. So long as Africans continue to migrate or travel abroad, they will face racism. There's no way to stop this racism, because some people, it's kind of their human nature to be racist. And it doesn't stop it's not limited to one group only. That's the point I'm trying to make. We have people that everybody are not racist. Let me make that one clear. Everyone you meet that is different group that are not racist. I have seen people that are not racist. And I don't just believe if they tell me they are not racist, because people can say anything. I look at what people do, their actions. Some people, it's very difficult to find out if this person is racist. But let me give you a hint how to at least have like 50% sure that this person might be a racist. Is that when you talk about money, those people, they don't want, most of the racists, that is, all of them doesn't want money, doesn't want to see black people or the Africans prosper. Anything about money that can go to Africans or black people, they will oppose it. Like in America, if you want to know a racist in America, it's very easy. Just talk about reparation in America. If any other group is against reparation for paying to the black Americans, African Americans, that they've enslaved their forefathers, that person is a racist. Don't mind whatever he says or she says about, I'm not racist. Anyone that opposes that kind of stuff is racist. That's how to know them. Let's circle back to how the Africans in diaspora react to racism compared to the Africans born abroad. When I talk of Africans in diaspora, the Africans that are born in Africa, they travel or they migrated abroad. Most of the time, 80% of the time when you see Africans, encountering racism, especially in public place, even in private place, they are always calm about it, because my people used to say that when a chicken travels to a new territory, they stand up with one leg. Yeah, because Africans abroad, we understand that we don't have control of the environment abroad. The streets are not named after us or after our forefathers. The police force or the judicial system, we don't have people there that can defend us. That's why most of the time when they undergo racism or verbal racism or racism remark, we take it cool. It's not that we're happy about it, but we don't do much. But compare that to the Africans born abroad, you know, some of them, at least 60% of them, will flip out when you make a racist remark about them. They will. Some of them might even fight you, which I'm not gonna say they are wrong in doing that. But you know, Africans, we know that we don't have power here abroad, and we know that most people are not gonna be on our side. You know, and you know, most of the time, you know, those in some companies or institutions in the West, especially when they find out that racist stuff going on in those companies or institutions, you know, you always see them putting out statements like, you know, we are committed in fighting every form of racism. But you know, it's just for publicity's sake. They are not fighting anything, because it's very difficult to fight racism just by, you know, saying it. You know, because people that are racist, they don't even acknowledge that they are racist. The only way to prove that you are fighting racism, especially racism against black people, is to make laws, not just racist law, make laws that just protect black people only. That this law is for racism against black people, because as you see, every other group in the world have, in one way or the other, caused racism or have make some racist remarks or treatment to our people, to black people. The only way to fight it, if they say they are serious, is just to make law, particularly to protect the black people, because in kind of racism, I think we can say that 80% of racism in the world is experienced by black people, not any other group. And we know why it is so. So that's why we know that these people are serious in fighting racism. It's not about saying you're committed in fighting it, you're just doing it for publicity's sake. Just like what we see in mainstream media, you know, they put up black people, you know, you see them, you know, this newscaster, news presenter, you know, black people. But, you know, this is just for, you know, to just confuse some people. When you see black people in the news, they say, oh, these people, there's no racism in this company. But, you know, it's all lies, because those black people, they don't have opinion in those news. Everything that they say is being dictated by them, to them. Thank you for watching. Please like our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Facebook if you can, because we continue defending Africa. You know, I'm pro-African. I continue being pro-African. I want our people to be well informed, and I want the best thing for Africans. We Africans. Thank you once again. Peace.